Well, thank you, Jerker and Daniel, for inviting me back. And, you know, I really love the presentations this morning. And Jerker said, factory of the future. I'm sort of tempted to say, you know, back to the future, because the stuff we're doing has been done in Europe, and Helena showed examples of work she's done for I think I can add plural, decades. So we're catching up to great work that's been happening around the world. Our focus at Plant Prefab is really on the custom or the architecture market. Our founding premise is that there are tens of thousands of architects who design for places where, in this country, custom projects tend to be pretty prevalent. So urban infill cities and mountain home communities, second home communities, all of these places are really defined by the following characteristics: high land costs, high labor costs, scarce labor. One of those segments, which is the biggest one, urban infill, has some unique characteristics in that lot sizes can vary neighborhood to neighborhood. Zoning, setbacks, height limits can vary neighborhood to neighborhood. So in cities in particular, you really have to look at a specific lot and figure out what you are planning to do with that or can do with that. And this applies whether you're a related company looking to do a 50-story condo or apartment project south of Market in San Francisco or downtown LA or midtown Manhattan, or an individual doing a teardown in Portland or West Hollywood or Atherton. So prefab in this country has really not focused on that market as much. There have been some companies over the last 5 to 10 years who have said, well, we're going to do standardized homes, architectural homes, and in general, more often than not, they have their own designs and limited flexibility on floor plan, on design. Our founding premise, as I said, we want to empower the tens of thousands of architects who really understand local environments, local materials, local permitting needs. We want to make the process for them to build their designs not only more efficient, but also more sustainable. And that's a kind of key or core DNA for us. We are a certified B Corp. We're one of the only certified B Corp prefabricators out there. Sustainability, we have a very comprehensive program, which I'll talk about. We have a patented building system that really combines both panels and modules, and I'll talk about that. We have 2 factories currently, both in Southern California, and we're working on our first automated facility. It's also our first ground-up facility, and I'm going to give you a little preview of that. So let me talk about our building system, because this is pretty unique for us. It comprises panels that we designed and developed and actually patented. We are currently building them mostly manually, and they're pretty complete. So we're putting in infrastructure, finished material, of course structural, of course insulation, windows, doors, and we combine them with modules for the more complex parts of the construction, kitchens, baths, utility cores, stairs. And what this gives us is much greater flexibility, because when you're looking at a specific project, at least traditionally in this country, you've got kind of 2 big building systems, modules and panels, and both have great advantages and some challenges, right? Modules are awesome because you can build in an all-weather off-site facility in parallel to your site work, so you can save a lot of time. Maybe you can leverage lower cost labor relative to that site, so maybe that's an advantage too. But the challenges of modules are very expensive to ship, and also they have a lot of redundant structures. So if you're a multifamily developer in particular, you may be required to reduce total unit count or and/or floor plan per unit because of all that redundant structure. So many multifamily developers often turn to panels. Panels are great because much less redundant structure, so they can solve design problems more elegantly. They ship flat, so way more efficient to ship, don't require the same kind of crane infrastructure to install. So those are great advantages, but at least the leading panel systems in the US, for example, is CIFE, you save on framing and insulation, but you still have to do electrical, plumbing, cladding, drywall, windows, doors. It's a kitchen or bath, your millwork, your appliances, your tiles, all that work that I just alluded to shifts back on site. But remember, I said our focus are areas where labor is most expensive and most scarce. So we're trying to avoid that. So again, with our system, we're able to solve design problems a little bit more elegantly because we can do bedrooms, hallways, studies, places with less complex construction requirements, no plumbing, no millwork. We can do those with panels, but the places that require more complex trades, kitchens, baths, utility cores, as I said, we can do those with modules. So we're currently using this system. These are the 4 major markets we're serving: single-family homes, multifamily. We're doing some affordable housing and hospitality. And let me show you, this is just a little illustration of how we combine modules and panels. You're going to see this later. We have a 38 single-family home project that we recently completed near Lake Tahoe, and there are 6 basic models, and this is one of them. And this is actual pictures of that project, both mods and panels being assembled on site. The developer there estimates we saved him probably 25% on local costs, overall budget, as well as 25% in terms of the time for that project. He'd done a lot of site-based projects there, so he knew both the costs for local labor and now with prefab. As I said, sustainability is pretty core to our mission. We publish a annual corporate sustainability report. We're tracking a bunch of metrics across not only supply chain, but of course operations. And we have been pretty careful to really understand our carbon footprint in terms of the homes we produce. We compare that to what's typically done in the industry, and there's just a bunch of initiatives that we're doing to pretty dramatically reduce that. But really what I wanted to focus on in this talk is our new facility and what we're doing there. So as I said, we have 2 current facilities, Rialto in Ontario, that's in Southern California, about halfway between Los Angeles and Palm Springs. And currently we're building our components mostly by hand. We have CNC equipment to cut lumber. But in this new facility, which is in Tejon Ranch, which is about half an hour south of Bakersfield, about an hour and a half north of Los Angeles. It's a 270,000 square foot facility. We expect the C of O next month, 100% solar powered. We believe we'll be able to do about 1 million square feet of, depending upon the size of the project, of product a year. We think we'll be able to serve the entire western U.S. Certainly this will allow us to do significantly larger projects. So this is just an animation of what we're doing. Like some of the other companies that you heard about, we do digital twins for every project that we do. We wrote our own software, but it works with CADWorks, so that automatically generates the CNC instructions for the various pieces of equipment we're integrating. Process starts here. We batch all of our orders for the day, week together to maximize cut lengths, minimize waste. This equipment automatically creates the panels, applies drywall, cuts the openings, then flips over the panels. We have another piece of equipment that blows in insulation. We like blown-in insulation rather than bad. It's a much more efficient way to insulate, 100% recycled material. We apply the weatherproofing, cut the openings. We have a separate line where we actually install windows, doors, electrical, plumbing, if it's a wet wall, and then some of those modules are used, some of those panels are used to create mods. We have a separate line for modules. We put in the millwork, the finish work, that then gets wrapped along with panels. And almost every project we're doing at this point is a combination of mods and panels. This is another illustration of one of the homes by Lake Tahoe. And as I said, with this system, with Tejon Ranch, we expect to do much larger projects and to be able to serve the entire western U.S. I'm going to show you some of the kinds of projects we've done with this hybrid system. This is now finished photos of, or that last one was a finished photo of what we've done in Lake Tahoe. These are townhomes in Los Angeles. Actually, the first LEED Platinum home ever under $1 million in Los Angeles. We've done over 30 LEED Platinum certified homes. It used to be the domain, at least in LA, very high-end homes. I think we've made it more accessible. These are townhomes we did in Venice, a multi-family project in Berkeley, 8 months from start of construction to that picture. This is a 4-unit project in Los Gatos, not far from here. It's inside. And I think this is a project we did for AutoCamp. I mentioned we're doing some hospitality projects. This is by Yosemite. This is our first affordable housing project in California. Super honored to be able to work with Brooks Scarpa, one of my favorite architecture firms and really a leader in sustainable design. It's in Santa Monica. And I think one of the things that we've done well as a company, really maintain architectural integrity. You saw projects designed, every project you saw was designed by a different architecture firm. I think most of the people who are familiar with the architects with whom we work, who see the projects we do for them, remark like, oh, wow, that looks like a Ray Cappy or a Kieran Timberlake. And that makes us feel great. It's supposed to look like what the architects intended, but we're building it, of course, off-site, typically for the first time for those architects. The other thing I think we've done particularly well, this, by the way, is a project, first time working with Lorcan O'Hurlihan, another architect I love, a duplex in West Hollywood. We're doing LEED Platinum level projects and beyond. They're not always certified, which costs extra. Sometimes developers aren't willing to do that, but that's kind of core DNA for us, as I've said. It's how we design in terms of the materials that we select. Drywall, 100% recycled content. The lighting we use, LEDs, paints and stains, no VOCs. We care about indoor air quality too. We're very careful about how we source materials. This is a 31-unit hospitality project that's actually nearing completion in Winter Park, Colorado. And each one of those units is 800 square feet. They're comprised of 2 mods and 19 panels. So I started to mention earlier that most projects are a hybrid approach, mostly panels, but also some mods. We've done projects that are all panels, and we still do projects that are all mods. And I think that's what's really important about our approach, which is unlike some of the other companies, at least in the US, who say you have to pick one system or another, and therefore sometimes have some challenging program versus budget decisions you have to make. We hope that's an easier approach with us, or an easier decision to make, because we don't require the same level of sacrifice. I think this is the last, oh no, this is the now finished pictures of some of the different types of homes we did in Lake Tahoe. And this is with the Brown Studio, who is both the designer and the developer. So I don't know if I'm taking questions now or later, but thank you.